Couple men in their pedal boards. Hey guys, so today we're heading down to my buddy Sonny's place. He's putting together this super sick new pedal board. We're gonna give you guys some pedal board do's and don'ts, if you will. Not that there's too many don'ts, but maybe just some best practices so that you can have a super sick pedal board, have it be reliable, all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna eat some breakfast, then we're gonna get on the road. What's up, dude?
Hey. What's up?
So, Sonny.
Yeah.
Take me through what you got going on here and kind of your philosophy behind building this board.
So I've had two pedal boards for a long time, and I'd kind of hop between the two, and while I'm using the small board, I'd miss the big board. And then when I'm using the big board, I kind of miss some of the small board because I had a couple of these things on the small board, a couple of things on the big board. What happened after the tour, I kind of decided that there were too many redundancies, and I also understood, like, after a couple of years of hard gigging with these two pedal boards, what I wanted and what I didn't want. I decided that I want to combine everything into one thing. Like, I wanted the power of the big board, but I wanted it in a 20-inch footprint because I know that works. Like, I've been on some small stages, and even then the 20-inch footprint is fine.
It looks amazing. It's like and you can flip open the hood and work on it, right?
Yep.
Which is pretty wicked.
Yeah, and so the reason these two pedals are down here is because they're always on, or like with the H9 is controlled by the Morningstar, so I don't need access to it. That was kind of the idea behind it, is to just take everything that I need and also have like a couple of analog modulations, half the chorus like the CE2, half the harmonic tremolo, so that the HX Stomp or the H9 aren't doing too much of the heavy lifting, so I can kind of use them for the weirder stuff or the stuff that I really like. Weighs a lot, but that's my problem. I gotta carry this.
That's your problem.
Yeah, that's my problem.
That's why you got the guns.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
One thing I think people don't really realize about putting together boards is you kind of have to experiment. You got to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
You have to just try everything.
Yeah.
This isn't Sonny's first pedal board, obviously. And so you really do have to try things out, swap things around, and ultimately that kind of leads to my second sort of tip, is to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonny, you've obviously planned out this board.
Yep.
For how long? How long did it take you to get here?
Probably been, so at the start of the year I actually had a different board that I put together. Like, oh, this is going to be the new big board. It had a poly Bebo on it and everything, and after I put it together, I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
This doesn't work because I didn't plan enough. So like a month or maybe 3 weeks or so, just planning it out and just thinking of scenarios in my head that when I was playing shows, what was I doing, what went wrong, how much space I need between pedals, and even what kind of switches should be next to each other, how the levels of each of the pedals should be at so I don't accidentally hit other stuff, and also like stuff that I click on a couple of times in the show and then I don't click on again, which is fine, but then I don't need so much access to it.
One thing I think people tend to sort of cheap out on when it comes to building their board is cables and power supply. Sonny did not do that. Sonny is using a really nice True Tone power supply, CS12, to power all of this stuff up. You need a good power supply, otherwise you're going to get noise or things just won't work at all. Some of these pedals, like the Beekeeper here, use real 12AX7 tubes in it, 12 volts. Needs a lot of power. Things like the H9 and the HX Stomp up top, you got to use good power supply to be able to power all that stuff.
That's
and then
right.
what cables are you using there, Sonny?
So I'm using Tour Gear cables. They've been pretty good. They're pretty small.
They've got some really nice small little ends on them that work super well, especially when you want to get them in those tiny areas, like on this board here. There's a lot of really tight spaces, so they work super well for that. Use the highest quality stuff you can. Good quality zip ties for when you're tying down all your cables, and yeah, it will serve you so much better in the long run. Right, Sonny?
100%. Like, this is the kind of stuff that'll make the board travel well. Like, you spend so much time putting this thing together, you want it to stay together when you take it to places.
So what Sonny's doing right now is he's just going through and kind of tidying up the board, tidying up all the wiring. That's something that you definitely want to do. That is a pedal board do. Always clean up your wiring once you get it all connected and making sure everything's working. He just did that. He ran it through the amp, made sure he was getting signal, all the pedals are working, so that's good. But you do want to make sure that all those wires are tied down so they're not going to be going anywhere, especially if you're going to be traveling with the board. I've had to play in front of people where my board just did not work. It was just like, nope, not today. Please tie down your cables. So something Sonny's doing as well that is super important is labeling his power supply. So you can see he just put some painter's tape there, and it just shows what pedal is being powered by which outlet.
Well, if something goes down, and you know, inevitably,
not if, when something goes down.
Inevitably, it will.
Because it will.
You wanna, especially when you're playing a show and there's troubleshooting that's going to be involved, make it easy for you to troubleshoot, because at that point, you know, you're gonna be worried. You're gonna try to have everything back up and running really quickly. So at least this way, what I can do is I can check if all the power that's running to all the pedals is okay. Go right to the source, unplug it, and go from there.
Sonny's got the board all up and running. It looks absolutely killer. Always test your board before you take it out on the gig. Make sure everything's working. Give it a few days, try it out at home. Make sure you get all of your sounds. That should be a given. I will link some of the supplies that Sonny used for the board down in the description below, such as those cable tie-down mounts, as well as the cables that he used for this board. So we're just going to take a quick coffee break, and then we'll be back with some sounds.
As soon as I buy this thing, immediately.
So we're looking at some old photos of Mr. Sonny's old rig, and Sonny, you used to be 4-rock.
I used to be 4-rock. It was the happiest day of my life.
So what happened here?
So I was looking for a studio signature for the longest time, and used 2-rocks.
This one, right?
That's this one.
Yeah.
The one I still have.
Yeah.
And used 2-rocks in Canada just don't come up. So then this other blue one, the 2-rock Jet from 2006, I believe, came up. And I thought, like, this is it. This is my best opportunity to buy a 2-rock. It was shipped to me, and while it was on its way here, an ad went up for the studio signature. And I freaked out.
Oh my gosh.
So then eventually what ended up happening was driving out 3 hours to where it was being sold and back on the same day. And then sold the Jet when it arrived. But I had 1 day with them both, and I ran them in stereo through this board, and it was the most glorious sound.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, yeah. What's better than 2-rock? 4-rock,
oh, yeah.
Obviously.
4-rock.
So how do you like the board, Sonny?
Honestly, it's turned out even better than I thought it was going to turn out. All these things that you conceptualize, like the pedal choices, and this is how I'm going to use this is how I'll set up the presets. If all of it, like all that planning pays off, and it did. I really like how the presets are set up, and it's easy to use, which is what I wanted.
I think it's a job well done, sir.